when I hung up my pimp coat,
Yeah.
I never looked back, man.
Listen, man. I put that leopard print up on the wall, I hung it up on the rack
Yeah.
and I quit using my pimp hand so it was less way strong.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and co-host, Joseph.
Yo, good morning.
Yo. So, where are we casting from today, brother?
Lacine, Kansas. Beautiful Lacine, Kansas.
Lacine. I can't say I've ever been there. So where is Lacine?
So, French for swan, you will find beautiful Lacine, Kansas. An hour and 20 minutes, 30 minutes south of Kansas City.
Gotcha. All right.
So,
All right.
oh, yeah.
All right. So, Kansas. I'm completely retarded when it comes to geography. Is Kansas City? That's pretty much like kind of center of the state, isn't it?
So this is Kansas City. This is an hour and some odd minutes south of Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. I knew there were. I knew there were two Kansas cities, and one of them is one of them the capital?
I think so. I don't know. Jesus.
I don't even fucking know anymore.
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know why we're talking about Kansas City, dude, because we should be talking about Lacine. So
That's that's the real fire right there. For sure, man. For sure. Well, how was your week?
man, week was pretty good. Megan had some training stuff that she was doing for work, so I was on double detail for Finn, which extends I guess it makes the week seem a little bit longer than preferable. So, and then I worked yesterday, or I'm sorry. So today we're recording on Sunday, June 2nd. But this will go out on the 3rd, and so I worked yesterday, which would be Saturday, and I worked Friday too. So it was just I'm glad to have this week in the rear view. Let me put it that way. So
Got it. Well, dude, bring it on because we've got some hot fire here today that we are going to be working through.
yeah, dude.
on this epi.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm stoked about this one. We've got some good topics to cover today. I was trying to think if there was anything worth mentioning that because I know we were talking a little bit about the I guess the Jesse Smollett update, but man, I would urge all listeners to look back into that. I'm kind of surprised that it's not getting a little bit more publicity than it is receiving. We're not going to be covering it again because I feel like that's kind of I don't know. But the update on it is just it's pretty fucking crazy. It's it depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. But yeah, I believe Jesse has. I believe he is shit in his mess kit. So.
But what happens,
At
after
this point,
the release of that report, right? Because there were a couple of notes on there about the prosecutor's office, trying to figure out how to, and I think these are my words, not the words in the release, but trying to figure out how to, spin or describe away the action, right, of like dropping the case. So what happens? What happens after that?
Well,
Can they go back and recharge him?
I would think that that's a good question. I would think that there's some kind of legal loophole kind of thing that they would at least be able to charge him with something else, like maybe obviously he couldn't be literally charged with the same shit, but I would think that they would be able to charge him with something else that would, I don't know, have a comparable sentence or something like that, maybe. I don't really know. So I guess I could go back and watch the movie Double Jeopardy if I really wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah,
So was
yeah.
that everybody just tune into Double Jeopardy and really get their facts straight before reading that article.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I don't know. I think it's pretty. I think there's some pretty intense conspiring going on. So I don't know. I will be very surprised if it doesn't get addressed. So keep your ear to the ground, listeners, because some shit's gonna pop off, and we don't really know where it's gonna go. But anywho, without further ado, let us cruise into episode 51 of the Tether Radio podcast. So I pulled this first one. Well, no, I'm sorry. You pulled this first one when we were going over articles to cover for this episode, and and it was just some of the quotes in it were just fucking awesome. So,
It was definitely a slow news day at the Metro.
yeah, exactly. It's titled "Kitten Ate a Wasp, and Now He Looks Like Ron Perlman." So, and of course, you scroll down. Obviously, this is a visually heavy article, so check out the show notes and all that jazz because this is definitely worth your time. But anyway,
I think you could probably Google it and get there quickly. I don't know how much content on the internet there is under the kitten looks like Ron Perlman.
yeah.
But could be a lot. I don't know.
Dude. But yeah. So basically, this Siamese kitten, Kiko, was left swollen faced when he decided. This is a quote from the article. Was left pretty swollen faced when he decided to taste a sky jalapeno for the first time outside his home in Essex. So a sky jalapeno, I've never heard of him.
Did you look that up? Is that like a British thing?
That's a good question.
No way. There's no way.
Sky jalapenos, sky raisins. What? Oh my gosh. No, this is completely fabricated by the Metro, I'm pretty sure.
But it's got sky jalapeno in quotation marks, like it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Like some call it a sky jalapeno.
Yeah.
The rest of us call it a wasp.
A fucking wasp, yeah. But anyway, so this owner decided to post this photo of Kiko online and started getting all these hits for like people comparing Kiko to all these different people or whatever. It said that Kiko's face was compared to Tigger and from everything from Tigger to Game of Thrones Night King, which I don't really get the Night King thing because I feel like the whole concept of this is the cat ate this wasp, it stung it in its mouth. And so it looks like it just has a ridiculously big chin, like Ron Perlman. But yeah, man. So, there was another quote in here that was like completely ridiculous, but, let's see, where was it? So my mom and I, took off his collar and he looked like an elephant seal. It's just like these comparisons are like fucking bizarre, dude.
Yeah, someone's got some time.
Yeah, seriously. But for anyone,
he does look like Ron Perlman.
100%.
And that picture, yeah, it's a really good side by side comparison. If I do say.
Yeah, exactly, man. But anyway, so Kiko thankfully has made a full recovery, and hopefully he will be refraining from munching on the sky jalapenos. So, but we're gonna go ahead and hop into this next one. It's kind of short, also, but I thought it
Yeah,
was pretty
the
fucking
the kid
random.
in Ron Perlman. It was not a lot of depth on that one.
Yeah, can't really do a deep dive in so shallow of an article, but anyway, pulled this one from Fox News. Pennsylvania school closes after man allegedly enters school, undresses, and pours soap on gym floor. So this is just screaming mental illness, right?
But was it a student?
No, it was not a student. This guy
Snuck
was,
in?
yeah. So on the basically what happened is they showed up to I guess school officials showed up on let's see, Thursday morning. This past Thursday, and at Neil Armstrong Elementary School in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And they found soap had been spilled throughout the building, and they thought that it was a prank. They thought that like kids had come in or whatever and kind of whatever vandalized in quotation marks. But then they went back and they pulled the security camera footage from the previous night, and it showed this dude coming into the school, getting like ass naked, and then going and like spilling this Murphy's oil soap on parts of the building and including the gym floor. So the police department like posted some stuff on their like Twitter feed or whatever, to some photos of the guy that they had pulled from the security footage, and they were basically like, anybody that knows who this is, please contact us, because yeah, this motherfucker's in trouble. It's just so ridiculous. Spilled Murphy's oils. I mean, this screams like mental illness, dude.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what is Murphy's oil soap? Why do they call that out? Is that something, is it hard to find or something? What is
So I believe Murphy's oil soap is what you use normally to
Isn't it like rehabbing furniture or something like that?
I think it's basically just made to clean wood, like wood floors, furniture, stuff like that, so
Got
that it
it.
doesn't dry the wood out,
Got it.
kind of thing. But yeah, I think our mom used that on like the hardwood to clean it. But because that just rings a bell. Murphy's does, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like whatever that stuff is like you don't use a lot of it, so you buy a bottle and then it just like
yeah. Oh
you
no.
use like a
Yeah.
little dab will do you. And so
100%.
yeah.
100%. So this fool's, but the thing that I also love about this, because I actually pulled this off of Reddit, and the number one comment was, well, those floors aren't going to clean themselves. I was just like, nice. Thank
I
you,
thought you were gonna
internet.
say that he was like sliding down the floors or something. You know
No,
what I mean? Like he was
yeah, they didn't say anything about, like, literally he just went in.
actually I had no idea what you were gonna say. That did occur to me at one point.
Yeah, yeah. But which I don't know, man. I mean, maybe they're just leaving that out. They don't want people to know the kind of fun that can be had with an empty gym and a bottle of Murphy's oil soap.
And I get that. I get that.
I get that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll go ahead and cruise on to this next one. This was kind of confusing to me because, well, we'll get into it once I actually introduce the article, I guess. But I pulled this one from The Verge. North Face apologizes after openly gloating about gaming Wikipedia for free advertising. So did you see anything about this, Joseph?
I did, and I guess just at the outset here, that's one title, right? Like,
Yeah.
but you could just as easily say like, whatever, North Face had some fun or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's not. I think it is interesting though that well, I don't know. Did you introduce kind of the meat of the article
No,
there?
no, no, no. Yeah,
Okay.
I was just wondering if you had seen it, but
I Yeah, I thought in some ways it was kind of a like an interesting marketing ploy,
yeah,
but there are people that work pretty hard. I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings on this one because there are people that work pretty hard, and provide volunteer time to get Wikipedia pages tight.
yeah.
And so, having some overpaid marketing person come in and jack your shit, I think that could be kind of annoying. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I think it really kind of plays into more like an ethical thing than a legal thing, in my opinion. But basically, what happened was North Face basically was looking at the Wikipedia articles that had super high traffic in them, and that had to do with kind of outdoors stuff and like locations and things along those things of that nature. But um,
Brother, I hear you on that. I hear you on that. Things of that nature.
yeah. But anyway, so what ended up happening was they mapped out some of these high traffic pages, and they submitted since Wikipedia, if you're not familiar with how it works, it's 100% voluntary in regards to people putting this information out there, people uploading photos and all this stuff, but you're just supposed to basically cite all the stuff that you post to, I guess, strengthen articles in quotation marks. Anyway, so they mapped out all these high traffic pages, and they ended up submitting very similar photos on these pages. So, like, for instance, whatever, like Appalachian Trail or something like that. And so, there's a picture of looking down into a valley or something like that. And so they would submit another picture that was very similar. And I don't know, they just said that it was similar. I don't even know if it's necessarily the actual same place. But what they would do
See,
is,
that was my question, right? Because
yeah,
if you're going in and just kind of not only fucking with these pages, but then also
like making them
submitting
inaccurate, basically.
like I
Yeah,
think that is I don't know.
yeah,
There was kind of an uproar about this. Like I have less of a problem with a company, you know, actually that's not true. I think a company fucking with Wikipedia is pretty stupid.
Well, the main
if
thing about it though is not that they fucked with it. It's the fact that they fucked with it, they got away with it, and then they were like bragging about it.
Yeah, I think the bragging part of it though, man, is like probably the way that this went because
Hmm.
there's
Oh, wait,
you know
real quick, sorry, but they would submit these other photos with North Face product placement in the latter photo. So
right.
anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say part of the way that this stuff works is that big companies have what's known as an AOR, an agency of record,
Hmm.
and the agency of record is like a creative agency, right?
Hmm.
Who gets paid to take a certain amount of money, and they have a budget or whatever, and then they do like whatever creative campaigns on behalf of an ad client, right?
Hmm.
And so that's the thing is like I'm sure somebody dreamed this up and thought this would be just a really cool creative guerrilla marketing tactic or whatever,
Hmm.
and it just came off as like a wealthy company doing something tacky.
Yeah, yeah. And so basically what came about in regarding this, they being North Face, posted a video. Let's see, what was it? a 2-minute video detailing how shots of famous locales were swapped for similar seeming photos featuring North Face product placement, inorganically juicing North Face visibility in Google results. So, and the thing that I don't know. I feel like yes, it was a successful tactic. I feel like it was just kind of silly to hell even, reveal that you did that. But so they had this the opening of the video shows this is quote from The Verge. The opening of the video showed a graphic of a Google search bar filling up in real time with the words, "How can a brand be the first on Google without paying anything for it?" So I think it was just, I don't know. I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head, man.
Exactly, man. Because these agencies pat each other on the back for 1 million impressions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Organically built over blah blah blah. You
Yeah.
can just see it as like a sizzle reel for an agency.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it just whatever. I mean, maybe you could get away with this if you were a a local burger joint or whatever.
Yeah.
That was messing with your local page.
Yeah.
But to do this, at scale, when you've got budgets that are large and the people that are contributing to Wikipedia do not, is a little silly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's also kind of interesting that they could do it.
Well, and the fact that it worked.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty. It's you have to give the devil his due, I guess, in a situation like this, because I mean that's pretty fucking creative, and that was a pretty obviously a successful tactic, ad tactic. But the thing that was kind of strange to me is now they're spinning it that it was since North Face is multinational and just a huge company. They have a bunch of smaller contracted ad companies, and they're basically pointing at one small firm from Brazil that they were responsible for it, kind of thing.
Right. So now the blame game starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is so. North Face started doing this, like, whatever. Oh yeah, this whatever Leo Burnett TaylorMade was the division that they were kind of pointing the blame to. But the North Face Brazil CEO Fabrício Luzzi, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. He actually said that he was quoted as saying, "Any press is good press. Our mission is to expand our frontiers so that our consumers can overcome their limits. With the Top of Images project, we achieved our positioning and placed our products in a fully contextualized manner as items that go hand in hand with these destinations." So basically, he was just kind of like, well, what's the problem?
Well, so what would have been really interesting is if they would have, gotten, I don't know, some sort of meaningfully added in a meaningful way to these pages.
Yeah.
And then also done, the product placement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they had done something where they had, for example, because like some of the Wikipedia shots of locations are shitty.
Yeah.
They're just not good pictures.
Yeah.
And so if they would have done something like taken really, really, really good pictures from like the same angle or something like that, or taken really, really good images of these different locations, and then just kind of parked in, somebody in North Face, like I think that would have been much more interesting than the example that I saw on the article, which was like a hero shot of like, a dude sitting in a North Face jacket, and it's like, you compare the two images and they don't even look like the same place. You know what I mean? So it's kind of confusing. It could have been really cool, man, if they would have, like I said, had like a copywriter go in and scan the page and tweak some things on the page and do some things that would be what am I looking to say here?
Well,
Like
just like
that would be
meaningful contribution kind of
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. That would have actually helped the page, and then also, they would have done some product placement. That would have been
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who could use an update on their Wikipedia is Lacine, Kansas.
Are you on there right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on here, man.
Yeah,
Except
it
it took me
is.
about like 3 times to figure out how to spell Lacine.
Yeah, Le Signe.
Yeah. But yeah, man, they've got a nice little Oaklawn Cemetery memorial to Civil War soldiers. Numerous swans like this one can be found around the city. And there's like a swan in a cemetery, so
Well, French for swan. So
there you go, man. There
there
you
you go. Making it
go.
happen. Making it happen in Lacine.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that I agree with you, man. I think that it was just kind of well, for lack of a better word, man, tacky. It was just it just kind of rubs you the wrong way because, like you said, man, these motherfuckers have like ad budgets just out the fucking ass. So why are you trying to like game some kind of like public forum, basically,
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly. A public forum that's generated by volunteer labor. Like,
yeah,
come on, man.
yeah, seriously,
You know?
that's like taking like more than 2 pennies out of the take a penny, leave a penny thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Took a damn dime, you greedy bitch.
But
Um,
but anyway, dude. So you wanna you wanna bite it or bite off a piece of this next one?
yeah, I mean, I guess to put it simply, should toots be legal? You know?
Yeah,
No, so
toots.
prostitutes, that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this article from the New York Times, could prostitution be next to be decriminalized, right?
hmm
And I think this is interesting because this is coming at a time where we're seeing marijuana,
hmm
pretty much decriminalized coast to coast, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it sure as heck looks like that psilocybin mushrooms, maybe next, right?
hmm
And so I just think that this is interesting because these things that have been considered, vices, and just illicit substances and illicit things,
hmm
are now kind of being re-examined,
hmm
right?
hmm
And I mean, frankly, the prostitution thing, I mean, this is the obvious, excuse me, obviously this conversation has layers, right?
Yeah.
Because, it really does beg the question, like, people that are prostitutes, like, are they of sound mind and body to make that decision and whatever? I
Yeah.
mean, there are obvious layers to this.
hmm
But I think the thing that's really interesting is that these things are just being re-examined. I mean, I heard somebody put drug use and prostitution kind of in this way where let's just consider for a second or assume for a second that a prostitute is like somebody has just decided to make money by being a prostitute,
Yeah.
and they are actually of sound mind and body. I would find that hard to believe, but let's just say it kind of is a victimless crime, right?
Yeah.
If nobody's being forced into it, and it's
I mean, it
not.
sounds like a win-win to me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, dude. Yeah. It is a victimless crime, and that's like kind of the same thing with drugs, right? You've got two willing participants, and then the government steps in and says, "Nope, this is illegal. You could go to jail for a long time, for doing it." So,
Mhm.
I just think that it's an interesting time, and I'll bet you that we do see prostitution be legalized.
So
Not soon,
yeah.
or at very least decriminalized, which means that a traffic stop trumps a prostitution bust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be much more challenging for certain drugs to be legalized
Hmm.
than it is for prostitution to be legalized.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
DEA is a thing, right?
Yeah.
And sure, different cities have vice squads, but
Hmm.
drugs,
Well,
you
dude,
know,
drugs generate a shit ton of
of
money
job.
yeah, money, jobs, whatever for the government, you know. So,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. And prostitution's not necessarily that way.
yeah.
So it's an interesting idea. I
Yeah.
don't know. What do you think? Should it be legalized?
Well, so and kind of coming back to how you introed this article, just in regards to a sound mind and body, you know, kind of thing. How is it regulated in, you know, like Amsterdam, for instance? Like, do you have to apply for like a license and they like check you out to make? Because I know that they really watch for like STIs and shit. So,
Yeah, it's so
or do you have any idea?
I'm not well versed in this.
Yeah.
Like, 2007 was a long time ago, you know. Um, I'm
Seriously.
not. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not well versed in this, but
When I hung up my pimp coat,
yeah.
I never looked back, man.
Listen, man. I put that leopard print up on the wall. I hung it up on the rack,
Yeah.
and I quit using my pimp hand, so it was less way strong, and
It was less way strong. Every time I think of like a pimp hand, what was that fucking movie that the dude would powder his hand before he'd slap people?
Pootie Tang.
Was it Pootie Tang?
I don't know.
I don't know, dude, but it was actually like pretty funny. But anyway, but I would be interested to know, like, do they have to pass some kind of mental, whatever,
Yeah,
like
I do.
assessment?
I do not know about that, but I'm sure there's some process that they go through to ensure that this isn't like, a girl from Venezuela that's been, stolen from her family or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, huh.
So,
Yeah,
but
man.
but I
Well,
but I think that they have to like pull a license and and go through a process
hmm
to be licensed. But I don't know, something that I've always thought about prostitution that's really really interesting
hmm
is that like really what is prostitution being illegal trying to avoid?
yeah,
Um, and it's just interesting to think about that as like to think about it from that angle,
yeah,
right? Like, is it trying to avoid like general disruption of society? Is it like just a moral thing? Like really, why is it illegal? And like from my understanding, drugs and the reason the reason drugs are illegal is because it would be like, or the reason that using drugs in certain ways is illegal. For example, a DUI,
yeah,
would be generally bad for other people's safety
yeah,
if people were driving around shithoused and that was sanctioned by the state. That's a
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
But prostitution's an interesting one because you know, I think like in the West that prostitution was legal. I think we'll have to fact check that. But there were houses of ill repute or
uh-huh.
whatever
Yeah,
that existed in Western towns, for for a time,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
I don't and I don't think that those were illegal. And if they were not illegal, then maybe they were just totally decriminalized. But it's just interesting to think about like what's really trying to be, what are you trying to avoid here,
yeah.
right?
Well,
Um,
well, and also I would say a big because in my opinion, we still have lots of well, obviously, we still have lots of laws that are in play that really are less relevant these days than they were when they were instated, you know? Well, I say some laws, I guess, but I kind of wonder if this isn't kind of coming from this. I would almost describe it as like a sexual awakening of the United States, and like sexuality not being as stigmatized as it used to be, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
compared to
I get
like
that.
Europe or basically any other countries, sexuality and like privacy of sexuality and stuff like that. It's like bathhouses and stuff. I'm not even talking about like literally sex. I'm just talking about like I mean when Megan and I went to Korea. I went to a Korean bathhouse. I mean, hell, everybody's walking around naked and whatever. It's just it's not that big of a fucking deal. But like in the United States, I come back and tell that story, and people are just like, "My God, how did you fucking deal?"
Right, right.
And I think that it's just, I mean, I think that the United States is slowly catching up with the rest of the world in those regards, kind of
I
thing.
can hear you telling this story and somebody being like, whoa, 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 whoa. Dicks?
Dicks, butts.
Hold on. Hold on. Exposed dicks? Exposed butts? Full crack?
Oh man,
Was
yeah.
this butt cleavage or full butt?
Butt cleavage.
And don't lie to me, Bradley.
Don't lie to me.
Look at him smiling.
Give it to me straight, Bradley.
Give
We
it to me
talk.
straight. Yeah, don't look at it. Look at him smiling. It was full butts, boys.
He's like
Butts.
he holds his thumb and forefinger up and starts spreading them apart. And he's like, "Stop me when when I get to how much butt cleavage there was."
All right. Damn, 4.5 inches.
Oh my
Oh
God.
shit, man.
But
Yeah,
no, I think that I think that like I said, I think that the sexuality is just being it's more acceptable to talk about stuff and address that, and it to be on the forefront in the States these days. So
yeah, and again, a hell of a lot of assumptions going on here. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily an advocate for prostitution.
yeah,
I would have to think about it a little bit more, but
yeah,
but at the outset, if hypothetically, somebody is of sound body and mind, right, and wants to do this for work,
hmm
and there is a process, why not?
yeah, yeah,
Why not, really? I mean, I don't know that I mean, that's one thing. And number two, robot whorehouses are, dude, are absolutely, pardon the pun, coming.
yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely happening.
yeah.
I have a buddy that was in Asia this past week,
Uh,
and he was sending me pictures of like these robot these robot whorehouses, and it was like really funny how they were
dude,
presented.
I remember this one article that we covered about something along those lines, and there was a GIF in it, and it was this guy that was like laying on his back, and he had like a VR helmet on, or a VR like whatever, I guess helmet. But it was like the weirdest looking thing. It had like a box on his junk, and like there was like something else like that he could like basically feel up. Dude, it was the most bizarre fucking thing I've seen in quite some time.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, that was probably in Japan.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, I know it was Asia at least. So
Japan's very forward leaning,
yeah,
and in that case, backwards leaning also.
yeah, right.
Whatever it takes to hit the spot.
There you go, man. It's all about
Man.
positioning.
It's
Um,
all about the position. Yep. Yep. Switch the position, bro.
oh, that's awesome.
So anyway, Tushin. Look for it in a shopping center near you,
Yeah.
because it's headed that way, brother.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, okay. So this one, I do not know if this next one is connected to another article that I saw, but maybe you can answer this question.
Okay.
I read a couple of articles that said Apple plans to end iTunes. Did you read this? And maybe I misread what they were saying. Maybe
So
they were saying iTunes is going to come to an end because of these things. But what's up with Apple and iTunes?
So I think what so the thing that I actually pulled was my pud. No, it was it was from
Whoa, so high, I was so close to the mic on that. Holy fuck.
no, I pulled this one from Time, and it was titled "Apple's Selling Your iTunes Listening Data Despite Its Privacy Claims," a lawsuit alleges. So, to answer your question, first of all, I think that what they were talking, because I have heard the same thing, that they're trying to phase out iTunes. And I think that what they're doing is everybody's trying to move to a streamable service. And I think that's what Apple's basically doing, is they're trying to, instead of giving you download links pretty much for 99 cents or whatever, or however much a song is these days, so that you can download that and then you actually have it, kind of thing. Well, you could put it on a device, and basically you didn't have to have active internet access to listen to it, kind of thing. I think that they're all just trying to move to streamable services, so that's why they would probably be dissolving iTunes.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good move, so that artists, instead of waiting till the end of the month to realize how fucked they got on their song, they can actually just be fucked in real time.
Yeah.
And so as the stream is being downloaded, they can just see those pennies stack, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's laughable. Streaming service, or specifically streaming music services, have destroyed the fucking music industry. Like, it is in fucking sane. Or at least it is destroyed it for artists,
Yeah, it's really, really interesting to me. And this is definitely a different topic for a different day, but it is so interesting to me how creative pursuits are revered by everyone, yet nobody actually wants to pay, right? Yeah. So it's like, could most people sit down excuse me, could most people sit down and craft a song I'm sure most people could write a song. I'm sure it'd be shitty. But could they write something that would resonate with all these people? And then you have groups of thousands of people that are interacting with an artist that's not selling, stadiums out, and not selling, millions of downloads or whatever. And it's just crazy. It's a total race to the bottom. Yeah. It's like, that to me is so interesting. Again, different topic for different day. But how does something that's so clearly a non-commodity get commoditized so quickly? Yeah. And I'll bet you it comes down to, the fact that these labels, or the shells of the labels that exist, just have so much power over these people, But anyway, that's interesting. So everything's just switching to streaming. Why? Like, why? What would the purpose of that be? I wonder. Does it mention in the article?
No. So it does not. But my take on it would be actually twofold kind of thing. If I would say that it's a shit ton easier to track how many times somebody's streamed a song than how many times someone has downloaded and listened to a song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So you're generating a shit ton more data, plus fucking Eula, man. They can fucking pull access to it whenever the fuck they want.
What's Eula?
End user license agreements.
So
basically,
end user license agreement.
Basically giving them more power over whether or not you can actually fucking access content. I think that's another thing. So
got it.
But
I guess that makes sense, right? Because if you're downloading something, they lose control of it, and if you're streaming it, maybe they don't.
That's my take on it, man. Because it's like, it's like I compare all the time the gaming industry. Everything's moving to basically cloud gaming, and so it's just going to be streamable services kind of stuff. And it just sucks because the end user license agreement shit. I mean, basically all of them have a clause in it that it's like, hey, we can pull your access to this content whenever we want. So, it's not like an arguable thing. It's like, oh, do you want to play this game? Oh, you do? Okay, then sign this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't? Okay, well then, go fuck yourself. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, it's man, it's crazy. What a land grab,
Yeah, it's super insane. But so this was actually in regards to Apple has been a pretty big, or has at least put on the facade of being a pretty big proponent of privacy. Wow, say that 5 times quickly.
Right.
Because yeah, but because I mean, always at the forefront, you see all these articles that it's like whatever. Tim Cook has decided not to allow whatever some police department to have access to an iPhone. They don't want to build in a back door because then it'll make their devices less secure and all this stuff. And they just always preach this high priority of privacy. And basically this lawsuit that's brought on by 3 iTunes customers from Rhode Island and Michigan. They sued in a federal court in San Francisco, seeking to represent hundreds of thousands of residents of their home states who allegedly had their personal listening information disclosed without their consent. So basically, Apple's like, oh yeah, privacy, 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 and then, they're screaming that out the front door and selling your data out the back door kind of thing. So, is this surprising? No.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
But yeah, they're basically just saying that because the problem that all of these lawsuits are having is that they can't really come up with evidence that customers have been harmed, kind of thing. Because basically, what happens is this data gets brokeraged out, kind of thing. And then nobody knows, or whatever. Everybody knows how it's fucking being used, but then it's like nobody knows at the same time. So they can't really point a finger to it and say, oh, well, your data, whatever, allowed some phishing email scan, whatever, and then you sent a bunch of money to Arabian Prince or some shit.
Right.
They basically can't trace it back to Apple, or at least it's very difficult to. So
yeah. I mean, that is what a rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
What a rabbit hole. That is a tough one.
Yeah, man. But I thought it was kind of funny. So they're seeking $250 for each Rhode Island iTunes customer,
right?
Whose information was disclosed, and then they're seeking $5,000 for each one in Michigan.
Huh.
I was like, that seems like quite the discrepancy.
Well, and what's so interesting about that to me is that 5,000 still doesn't even touch it.
Oh no, by any fucking stretch, dude. But they also mentioned in this article that this data broker or whatever, the data brokers, you can basically buy a list of, have this very, very targeted market and buy a list of 1,000 customers for about $136.
That's insane.
Right?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy.
I mean, it's fucking cheap as shit, dude. I mean, but...
I mean, I might just go have a data snack, now that I know it's so cheap, I mean,
Dude, you know what? If I was single, man, I'd just like, I'd put, all right, I want someone that's into this music that makes this much a year and blah blah
right.
blah this age, and just get 1,000 in cold call dates, man.
Hey, what are you up to? You know, you are. What are you doing? I got your email address from a friend.
Yes. Oh, that's
God,
awesome, man.
that's ridiculous.
But
That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
this shit's changing daily, man, and like I don't know, it's actually really interesting to keep an eye on it and just like I mean, dude, data is the game right now, man, and it is gonna be it's gonna be that for a while until basically legislation comes out that's fucking pumps the brakes, man. But
Absolutely.
at that
Data's the
point,
game, data's the future,
yeah,
and there are people that want to own yours, so
yeah,
just know that.
for sure, man. Faux show. But yeah, man. So this one that you pulled, I thought was pretty incredible. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into this next one about Martin Luther King.
Yeah, so this article comes from AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it was actually the first time I read about this was from a different publication, but the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is going through some pretty searing allegations against MLK
Hmm.
about his personal life, right?
Yeah.
And his involvement with Toots, with with extramarital affairs, etc. Right?
Prostitutes for the uninitiated.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In case you're just tuning in, excuse
Yeah.
me, turning in, unless you're just getting turned out, then,
Unless
um,
you're just getting turned in general.
just turn. Yeah, that's it. That's it. But yeah, I mean, suffice to say, like this article is, it's explosive in that MLK has been deified in some ways, right?
Yeah.
And not deified, but put up on a pedestal.
Hmm.
And it's like you and I were talking about it.
Sanctified. I don't know.
Sanctified, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you and I were talking about, like, obviously this man did some, like, damn near immeasurably important things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And none of those were, extramarital affairs or, hooking up with prostitutes.
Yeah.
And so this is just such a challenging thing because when you put somebody up on a pedestal like that,
Hmm.
like, there's no way that the real person can live up to this thing that you've created, right?
Yeah.
And so it is in many ways it's separating the artist from the work, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that it's human nature to not separate the artist from the work, right?
Yeah.
But so anyway, it's just something that I was thinking about as I was kind of reading through this. However, some of these allegations are kind of wild. Like one of them is that a colleague of MLK's was like raping a woman or something, and
Yeah.
he wasn't didn't take a part in the assault, but he was there and a bystander and didn't stop it. And this is like has come out in some secretly recorded FBI tapes, right, where they
Yeah.
were the FBI was actually following MLK, which is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, I guess, what if the dissidence was violent or not or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's like I'm actually not really torn on this at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was a world where black and white people of different ethnicities could not wed,
Yeah.
right? We're talking 50s, 60s. That was not that long ago.
No.
So let that like split your gourd open for a second. Like it's just completely fucking bizarre. And so then you've got a person who comes in and finds a voice and like takes a stand against like crazy levels of built-in racial discrimination, and changes a lot of people's lives for the better, right?
Yeah,
Surfaces some issues that obviously needed to be surfaced and addressed. And so I think that, people using this to me, these two things aren't connected. You can't discredit the man's work. You may be able to discredit the type of person that he was, right? But like, what we should be celebrating is the aspect of this person, the aspect of their personality that allowed them to take on these, the government to change and society to change things. And so I think to the extent that people are using, explosive new allegations to degrade, MLK's work, total bullshit. To the extent that people are using these allegations to understand more of who he was as a historical character, the jury's still out, because I don't know if this shit's true. But I mean, it's just like when you hear this stuff, that's kind of where my mind goes. If we're trying to understand this person more deeply as a person, you don't have to be a good person to do good work, right? And I know that.
Just look at Tom Cruise.
Look at Tom Cruise, man. That's exactly right.
I mean, dude. So, like, honestly, I was going to
say Amanda Seyfried. No, I'm kidding.
No, but I was going to use this. I mean, obviously, this is probably a shitty example, but it's like, dude, Tom Cruise is a fucking lunatic, But, dude, the Mission Impossible, especially the last couple movies, man. I mean, they've been really good, But it's like, I'm not gonna not go see that shit because he's a lunatic, or fucking pick out any, like, basically any actor or actress.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's like they do great work, and then they come out with some stupid ass personal opinion that's just like so eye rolling. Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? It's just like the thing to take away. Not that I think that this with the MLK Jr. stuff. I think that really it's kind of nice that stuff like this comes out, because it just shows that he's a human. He's still a human that was able to achieve so much, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But like everybody has their faults and shit, because we're But anyway.
And this stuff is it's disgusting and it's crazy and it's all those things. Yeah. But you certainly can't discount, the man's work, right? And exactly. Frankly, it's an unfair assessment to put this guy on a pedestal, because it's like there's only one way, off this pedestal. But and as discussed in the past, it is, like you said, it's human nature, and as we've said multiple times, humans are the most complex and highly ordered thinking of the legumes, the human being. And
the human being.
I mean, these are real.
You're a bean, I'm a bean, everybody's a bean.
Everybody's a bean, man. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's a bean. And to say that he is less a bean is ridiculous, So, that's awesome. Anyway, it's definitely the most, biologically speaking, the most structurally complex being, for sure. Anyway, okay, all right. So we have this crazy shit. Did you see this guy that lit himself on fire at the White House?
I saw a little bit about it, man.
Okay. So I was doing some digging, and the info was kind of light. But it is fascinating to me how fucking self-immolation, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe self-immolation is redundant, but I think it is self-immolation. But anyway, self-immolation on the fucking lawn of the White House is just like, okay, Yeah, you know what I mean? Like this did not achieve news status. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean this guy, a guy from Maryland, um, went to the front lawn of the White House, and I mean some of these pictures are like
So I actually found the
absolute.
video on TMZ.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's
It is
absolute
in
crazy.
fucking sane, dude.
And
And he's
so
just walking.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So his name was Arnav Gupta, 33 of Bethesda. When I started looking into this, it sure as heck looks like the guy's got a mental illness for sure. And it wasn't like a political protest or whatever. I mean, it may have been a political protest, but it seemed like that there was something just wrong with him,
Yeah,
and because it was like his family was wondering where he was, and it was kind of crazy.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but these videos are insane. This guy just like sets himself on fire. He has like an I love the USA shirt on or something, or a USA shirt, and he's like slowly trudging. I mean, dude, it's just crazy. You remember the Rage Against the Machine album cover with the self-immolating monk?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that status, right? This guy's a human torch, and
God, man.
and then they like run up to him, put him out, and of course he died from his injuries. So, just totally crazy. But it wasn't a political protest or anything. It didn't look like, or not that I've read. It was
So,
just it was a
according,
guy missing and doing, and then they
yeah,
found.
according to TMZ, which is obviously a great
Yeah. Okay.
source.
What does Harvey have to say about this?
um, let's see. This was updated on at 8:05, I guess, on the 31st, maybe 8:05 a.m. It said DC law enforcement sources tell TMZ cops believe Gupta was high on a drug called K2, which was laced with PCP. So K2 is a synthetic THC.
This guy was partying, dude.
Yeah, he was getting lit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Sorry, that was a terrible fucking joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Gupta on fire.
Yeah.
No, but the video's fucking disturbing.
God,
It's like
it
something.
really
It's like
is.
nightmares.
Say what? Sorry.
It's like something out of a nightmare.
Yeah, it really is, man. It really is. And God, just thinking about like trying to treat a burn victim. Like burn victims are extremely hard to treat just because like they lose fluid so quickly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they basically don't have skin, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you
So
see this video, it's like definitely no wonder that he died.
yeah. Yeah, let's see, according to the emergency dispatch audio obtained by TMZ, the man suffered burns on 85% of his body.
Yikes.
Jeez, dude, that is just. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he wasn't dead on the scene, man. I mean, I guess
Well,
he was on fire for like what, like a minute.
yeah, and PCP is a hell of a drug, dude.
That's a good point.
You know, so
Very good point.
it's a hell of a droog, a hell of a droog. But
Oh my god.
anyway, well, god damn, what a way to end the episode.
Yeah, sorry about that,
Yikes,
listeners.
yikes. Yeah, we're just like silence, like, yep, self-immolation. But like, bad news on MLK, self-immolation. See ya.
Signing off.
Signing off. Like, yeah. Hey, Tether listeners, enjoy your shit sandwich this week. I know I have, right? Oh my god. But anyway, okay, let us do the social jig here. I guess we can wrap with that because that's what we typically do, brother.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, well, actually, let's go back, dude. So I think we were talking last week. Like there are some some interesting articles that popped up this week. I think next week's going to be a banger, frankly.
Yeah.
Like one of the things I wanted to cover this week was a little bit about the Mueller report. So we'll have to get that on the docket for next week.
For sure.
Because the reaction has been really interesting, right? Where
Yeah.
Robert Mueller says, And if the president didn't commit a crime, if we didn't find evidence of him committing a crime, we would have said so, right?
Yeah.
And it was like this cliffhanger that everybody's looking at now and saying like, ooh, like burn Pelosi, what are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
And then she's like, you know, choosing the wrong word or whatever she does.
Did you see that video that somebody had uploaded of Nancy Pelosi on some she was being interviewed, and they had slowed it down to 75% speed and then messed with the pitch to make it sound normal so that it wasn't slow, so that she was just speaking really slowly and like,
yeah,
like
because it was
basically, I mean, they were basically just hating on Pelosi kind of thing.
yeah, and it was a whole dust up on Facebook because people were asking why Facebook wasn't removing the image, you know?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. But
yeah, it was crazy. It was totally crazy. But yeah, let's definitely talk about some politics next week. Some politicking.
let's do it, man.
All right. Well, this so concludes episode 51. That's right, dear listeners. Next week is the 1 year anniversary of Tether Radio Podcast. Good God, what a journey! What a journey!
What a journey!
What a journey! And so, don't stop believing. Hold on to the light. So
I hope our advertisers don't cancel us.
yeah,
Wait
sorry.
a second, we don't have any.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's well, that's one of the best things about free media. You say whatever, say whatever you want, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, episode number 52 coming at you next week. That is our year anniversary. We're gonna have to figure out something a little special to do. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But wanted to remind you of our handles here. You can reach out for anything. Not anything, but most things. Give us your feedback. We want to hear it. The good stuff, the bad stuff, everything in between. Tetherradio@gmail.com. That's TETHERRADIO@gmail.com. You can find us at Twitter, or on Twitter, rather, at Tether_radio. Same damn handle on Instagram. And on Facebook, Tether Radio, all one word. So, thus concludes episode 51, my dude.
Yeah, man. It's been a journey, like you said. It's been a fucking hell of one. So
yeah, let's keep going, man. Let's keep going. It. So, I'm Joseph,
and I'm Daniel,
and you have just listened to episode 51 of Tether Radio Podcast. And as always, friendos, we are reminding you to stay tethered. And we will talk to you next week.